Okay, here is the reading of pages 184 to 189 in the Human Odyssey. Gods on the Gangs. As time went on, more sacred texts were composed and the number of Hindu deities grew. While Hindus worshipped many gods, three main gods became popular over the first millennium. Remember what millennium is? BC. Okay, first 1,000 years. Brahman, Vishnu, and Shiva. Brahma was a four-headed creator god. Vishnu was the blue-skinned preserver of the world. Shiva, the god of destruction, was often pictured dancing in a ring of fire. As more Aryans peopled the plains near the Great Ganges, they came to consider the river sacred. From its headwaters in the Himalaya, the mighty waterway flows 1,500 miles to empty into the Bay of Bengal. But according to tradition, the Ganges River has a divine source. It flows down from the god Shiva's hair. Hindus believe that worshippers can be purified by bathing in the waters of the Ganges. In addition to Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, Hinduism came to include thousands of other gods and goddesses. Each of these many Hindu deities had its own personality, and each had a different role. They included the monkey god, Hu Hanuman, and the beloved elephant-headed god, Ganesha. Ganesha is the remover of obstacles who helps people get started in new enterprises. His fat belly symbolizes the prosperity he brings to those who worship him. According to Hindu teaching, Ganesha was created by the goddess Parvati, wife of Shiva. One day, while her husband was away from home, the goddess made a baby boy out of clay and named it Ganesha. She dried it in the sun, and Ganesha came to life. When Shiva returned, he found a small boy guarding his house, refusing to let him in. Shiva grew angry. In a rage, he chopped off Ganesha's head. Parvati was very upset. She made Shiva promise to replace the head with the head of the first creature he could find. Because this was an elephant, Ganesha got an elephant's head, and he has had it ever since. Hindus retell countless such legends about their gods. Do they worship one god or many? Some would say that the many gods they worship are all representations of a single universal essence, but each individual deity could be a teacher. Early Hindus came to believe their gods could take human form. And let's read this over here, the sacred Ganges. So many Hindus believed that by bathing in the Ganges, they could cleanse themselves of sin. The sick and the injured sometimes dip into the holy waters in hope of healing. Others go there to die. Toward the end of their lives, some Hindu pilgrims flock to a particular holy site along the banks of the river. It is said to be a gateway to heaven. Great stone steps allow the faithful to get close to the waters of the Ganges. Some Hindus have their ashes scattered on the river's surface. To Hindus, death here is a final act of purification. The cycle of death and rebirth, they believe, may now be at an end. Okay, let's go back up here. So here's the the god Ganesha. Let's see. And where did we finish off here? Let's see. They believe that their gods could take human form and provide valuable lessons for mankind. The lessons of the gods nearly always stress the virtue of adherence to duty. The most famous example is in the Ramayana, Ramayana, a very long epic poem. The Ramayana tells the story of virtuous Prince Rama. He is said to be a form of the preserver god, Vishnu. So Rama is often pictured as having blue skin like Vishnu. The prince's heroic adventures illustrate the triumph of good over evil. They also show human beings how to live a life faithful to duty by caste and gender. Around the 3rd century BC, Hindus in ancient India were listening to the Ramayana. Here's a short retelling of this ancient story. The Ramayana. Old King Dasharatha stood on his palace balcony looking down on the peaceful, shady streets of Ayodhya. Below, his subjects went about their business. Brahmin, soldier, merchant, farmer, each knew his place, and each performed his duty. Surely, thought the king, nowhere could there be a kingdom so happy and prosperous. I've been a good king, he said aloud. I am ready to retire. Dasharatha had 4 sons. All 4 were everything princes should be: brave, strong, clever, honest, loyal, and devoted to doing what was right. But there could be no doubt which son the gods had chosen to rule his kingdom: Prince Rama. Rama was no ordinary prince. When he was only 16, he had protected a holy man from hideous demons who came to torment him. On his way home from this adventure, Rama stopped in a neighboring kingdom to see the great bow of Shiva. The king had promised his daughter, Sita, to the man who could string the bow. Many powerful warriors had tried, but a dozen straining all together could not even pry the weapon from the ground. Beautiful and kind, the Princess Sita instantly won Rama's heart. He lifted the bow as if it weighed no more than a toothpick and bent it back with such vigor that the bow broke like a dry twig. The prince and his new bride returned to a joyous welcome in Ayodhya. Among the happy crowd, it was even said that Rama was really the god Vishnu, preserver of the universe, born into human form to destroy evil in the world. Yes, indeed, thought Dasartha, Rama must be made king, with Sita beside him. Rama would rule the land with justice, compassion, and wisdom. When the old king announced his choice, everyone was pleased. Everyone, that is, except Rama's stepmother. She was determined to see her own son, Bharata, on the throne. My king, she said, long ago you promised to grant me 2 wishes. Do you remember? Of course, my dear, said Dasartha. Anything. What would you like? The queen smiled. I would like you to crown our son Bharata king, and I would like you to exile Rama to the forest for 14 years. The old king wept and raged, but she refused to take back her requests. What could he do? He had given his promise. Rama's favorite brother, Lakshmana, turned pale with anger when he heard the news. You are the rightful king, he said to Rama. Anyone who tries to take your place will feel the edge of my sword. No, said Rama, you know it is our sacred duty to obey our father in all things. I will leave Ayodhya and with a willing heart. Then I go with you, said Lakshmana. And I, said a quiet voice, it was Sita, for my duty, beloved Rama, is to be always by your side. Leaving their royal chariot behind, the 3 companions set out together on foot. They had only walked a few days when they heard behind them pounding of hoof-beats. Bharata swung himself down from his horse. Tears streamed down his face. Our father has passed away, he said. Sending you away broke his heart. Rama, I never wanted to be king. Please come back and take your throne. Rama embraced his brother. "Dead or alive," he said, "my father's wish is law. I must not return for 14 years." "Then give me your sandals," said Bharata. "I will place them on the throne. As long as you are gone, I will rule only in your name." Bharata returned to the palace, while Rama and his loyal companions pressed on into the deep, dark woods where demons ruled the night. Around them the wind howled. Even the dry branches of the trees trembled and groaned. Rama had no fear. With the help of Lakshmana, he attacked the demons, killing all who crossed their path. Rama and Sita brought spring back to the forest. Birds sang in the trees, and flowers of every color bloomed beneath their feet. Holy men who lived as hermits in the forest praised their names. But there was one to whom the name of Rama brought no joy: Ravana, ruler of the demons. Ravana drove a magic chariot that flew 1,000 times faster than any eagle. He could flatten an entire village with a single sweep of any of his 20 arms. A scowl on the face of one of his 10 heads would bring a storm to destroy a whole season's crops. His tremendous power was exceeded only by his pride. "So Rama thinks he can attack my demons with impunity," snarled Ravana. "Well, we shall see." While Ravana plotted, Rama and Lakshmana built a small hut in the woods. Every morning Sita gathered delicious wild fruits for them to share. In the evening they sat around the fire, warming their hands and telling stories. They lived simply but happily. One day Sita saw a beautiful golden deer prancing through the forest. "Rama," she cried, "come and see. It is the loveliest creature I have ever seen." "Then I will capture it for you," her husband promised. He told Lakshmana to remain behind with Sita, then set off in pursuit of the deer. Soon deer and man had disappeared into the woods. A moment later Sita and Lakshmana heard a cry: "Help! Help me!" Wide-eyed, Sita turned to Lakshmana. "Rama is in trouble. You must go to him." "But he told me to stay here." "He is your brother," Sita had said. "How can you ignore his cries?" Lakshmana ran off toward the sound of Rama's voice. No sooner was he gone, however, than a wandering hermit appeared before Sita. She offered him food. As she approached him, he revealed himself as the demon Ravana. He seized her and carried her off in his flying chariot. Lakshmana found Rama unharmed, but the deer had been a servant of the evil Ravana in disguise. Quickly Rama returned to the hut, but Sita was gone. Grief-stricken, Rama set out at once in search of his lost wife. On and on the two brothers plodded, but they found no sign of Sita. At last they came to the land of the monkeys. There they met the monkey Hanuman, and they told him of their sad story. "I am the son of the wind," said Hanuman. "I will find her for you." After much searching, Hanuman realized where she must be: on Lanka, the legendary island to the south, surrounded by sea monsters, home of the demon ruler Ravana. With a single great leap, the monkey soared high above the ocean. He landed on the island. There, in a tree overlooking a high walled garden, he spied a beautiful woman weeping. "Why do you weep?" asked Hanuman. "I am the Princess Sita," she replied. "Ravana wants me to be his bride, and he has threatened me with dreadful punishments if I continue to refuse. But I will never betray my husband Rama." "Have courage," said the monkey. "Rama is on his way to rescue you. I have brought you his ring as a pledge." And with another extraordinary bound, he flew across the ocean once again, back to the waiting brothers.